Let's shift over and talk a little college. I've got a couple questions there while I've got you for a few more minutes here. Chris Landry on the radio with you talking NFL draft, college football, Monday edition of the program. Find him on X at Landry Football, also LandryFootball.com. All right, so a lot of buzz around Arch Manning and his spring game. Now, I know a spring game is just a spring game, but he looks bigger. He looks like the ball's coming out even quicker than what it was a year ago. Obviously with Quinn Ewers still there, it looks like, being the way, kind of the Manning model, shall we say, that he's going to wait his time there at Texas. What do you see when you see Arch Manning throw the football and, of course, his game?
Got a lot of natural ability. He moves better than his uncles. He reminds me more of his granddad, of how he moves. Obviously most of what I've seen him coming out of high school. So his ability to throw on the move, his natural arm talent, I think obviously he's got the pedigree that you've alluded to that gives him an opportunity to maybe see the game at an earlier age differently than others. So, yeah, I'm excited to see that is a very good quarterback room and kind of got the right attitude, not the prima donna, approach, but, hey, buy your time. And, I'm sure it's going to be a competition. Ewers is the guy to beat out. I don't know if he can be beaten out with his experience, but looks like they have set them up well. And I think when in the recruiting process, the whole family really bought into how Steve Sarkisian teaches. And so I think that's a big part of he's just happy being in that environment. And he's seeing the end game of, look, he doesn't have to start 4 years. He's when his time comes, he's going to play, get experience, and he's certainly in great position with NIL money to not have to be worried about getting into the league sooner.
And let's wrap it up. One more college quarterback. Cam Ward down at the University of Miami, of course. It's a big year for the Hurricanes. It's a big year for Mario Cristobal, especially with what they've done talent-wise. They need to be, I would think, right in the mix for the ACC championship. He has just underperformed vastly down there at Miami. But when you look at the quarterback he's bringing in from Washington State via, Incarnate Word to start out with, or Ward to start out with, what do you see when you see this young man? Because he was a guy who was flirting with the NFL.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, he decided to come out, pulled his name out, and then because of the NIL deals, this is a better deal, and it makes sense. The guy's been very productive. Comes from a lot of spread systems, spread concepts, gets the ball out quickly. I'm excited to see what he can do. They need consistency at quarterback. If you think about Miami, there's still some pretty good athletes, but they have shot themselves in the foot in big games, mainly due to poor quarterback play that's hurt them. If they get good quarterback play, could Miami surprise? We know that under Mario, that team has been very inconsistent. We know the disaster that was the Georgia Tech game and so on and so forth, but I like this quarterback. This is an experienced guy that they're not having to develop, but that they can plug in and kind of naturally blend into their system.
And let's finish it up with Mississippi State. I don't know if you got a chance to check out their spring game. Now, obviously, again, it is a spring game, but Blake Shapen comes over from Baylor and looked the part over the weekend, at least in a spring game format. But I think for Jeff Levy and Mississippi State fans, a breath of fresh air to see some points scored, even if it is in a spring game.
Look, I'd be very surprised if they don't start scoring points, because that's what Jeff does. He'll get there with tempo. It'll take him a while to get all the pieces in there. But, yeah, I think Blake is a talented guy. You mentioned from Baylor, another one of those guys that kind of thrown around and I think has got a lot of natural ability to be able to have a lot of success. So I'm very excited to see what he can do for them. And, yeah, I expect it to look a lot different. I don't know how many points. There'll be more points, and it'll look a little different than it did last year, that's for sure.
Make sure to find him on X at Landry Football, LandryFootball.com. Chris, appreciate your time as always. Have a great week. We'll do it again next week.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you as always.